When she celebrate.
It's showtime, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Alpha Beta Talk number 3. So welcome to this series of 13 Alpha Beta Talks in 15 weeks. Now, Alpha Collective is a Web3 business focused on the business of Web3. Our vision is to usher in the era of community capitalism. Our mission is to help onboard the next billion wallets via the next billion brand dollars. In season 1, we will roll out IRL events, monthly vertical masterminds, weekday virtual coffees in our collective cafe, and our flagship product, 52 Alpha Talks, delivered by 52 Alpha Talk speakers, 26 male and 26 female, or those who identify as such. But to get the ball rolling, we're doing these preview Alpha Beta Talks, just a little bit of a taste as to what is to come. So they're free for now, but from Labor Day, they'll be for members only. And you can purchase your membership pass via credit card at alphacollective.xyz or while stocks last. Stocks or securities, I don't know. Too soon? You can purchase them via crypto while crypto lasts at mint.alphacollective.xyz. And now to our third Alpha Talk speaker, who I imagine will have a point of view on all of that. Drew Austin is the managing partner of Redbeard Ventures. You'll see why in a moment. An early stage Web3 venture firm investing in Sandbox, LimeWire, Dapper Labs, Zrun, and more. And co-founder of Knights of Degen, a Web3 sports and gaming company building NFT-powered RPG role-playing games. See, I'm not that old, kind of fantasy sports games. And now, without further ado, Drew, finally, at last we meet. We've met before. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going, guys? How's it doing, Joe?
Yeah, no, it's good. If you are in the vicinity of where I am right now, in the, I guess, the West Portaverse, which is kind of like the metaverse, the fire and brimstone of hell has erupted from the ceiling down, from the floor, from the heavens down, but the power is still with us. So, Drew, welcome. Drew, we are going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to do a fireside chat, and so we need a fire. So I managed to, through my trusty, partner in crime, mid-journey or miss-journey, I have a nice little fireside. Do you feel warm? Do you feel warm already?
I feel warm already.
All right.
Right at home.
So we're going to get into a whole bunch of things, but we're going to talk about. I mean, should we address the elephant in the? Well, first of all, before we address any elephants, just to say hello to everyone. Day Tran, Bez is here, Jensa, Anderson Bell, David Garber. Everyone is here to listen to you, to watch you, to learn from you. So just want to send shout outs to everyone. Drew, so let's, as I said, elephant in the room. I go ahead and I post this, which is just to get people to join the show. And Daron, who I know actually very well, and I don't mean to put him on the spot, so it doesn't matter whether it's Daron or Wesley Daron or Daron Wesley, says, bear market is the understatement of the day, Joe. SEC is finally delivering the final blow to crypto in US, as they should. And of course, you pop in at the bottom saying, never heard a crypto is dead take before. So is news of crypto's death greatly exaggerated?
I mean, the crypto is dead again is really the way it's told. I've been in crypto now for about 10 years. So started investing in crypto in 2013, started buying my first NFTs in 2018. I've been around the space for long enough, and this is a space that I think the saying of first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then they win is about as relevant to crypto as can possibly be. They did ignore us for the first few years. And then, then like the NFT market came out and was, Bored Apes and things of that nature, which people would laugh at almost. Like, it's like, they don't really fully get it, but they see a bunch of people spending $100,000 on an apes, and that's something to laugh at, not really understanding what is actually happening and what are we actually building here. And then they've started to take it a little bit more seriously and said, we need to fight back against this. We need to instead of coming up with real legitimate regulations or sitting down at the table with the leaders in the market and figuring out how do we facilitate innovation in the US while making sure it's safe and compliant for customers and investors, they're just throwing names out there and starting to attack. So we're in fight mode right now, which to me feels like we're on the precipice of what would ultimately then become winning, which would be the next wave of the internet in my eyes. I don't see a world where blockchain doesn't exist in technology, especially when you start thinking about all the AI that's coming out and understanding where content's being created and provenance. And I mean, who knows what is a machine creating something, is a human, who was the first one to create something. We're going to where, there's VR and AR. The reality is we live in a more and more digital world, and we need to have digital currencies. We need to have digital infrastructure. We need to have decentralized ownerships. We need to have decentralized autonomous organizations. All of this stuff we have not even really scratched the surface of yet. And these are the important topics to be discussing in crypto. So for me, no, I don't think it's the death of crypto. I think it's just another battle we have to face. I wish we could have just, I wish they could just let us cook and allow us to just get out there and build with support and innovation. But this is another battle. The people that are here, that are still here, are not tourists. They're here because they believe in what we're doing here. And I don't, a lot of people will run, but the people that'll stay are going to be the ones that help shape the future of the internet.
Well, let's talk about staying in a moment. But you said, first of all, provenance, from what I'm understanding, is neither in France nor in Rhode Island discuss, right? It used to be Rhode Island is neither a road nor an island discuss. You've done something important there, which is you've discussed this thing called the blockchain, as opposed to crypto, NFT, or as the brands would like to, metaverse. Let me ask you a question. What is your definition of Web3? So level set. How do you pitch it? How do you define it?
To me, it's simply it's digital ownership in its simplest form. It's the ability to have digital assets that you can own, that you could transfer, that have scarcity, have transparency, have visibility, that enable new forms of ownership and that enable new ways to decentralize governance and create a proof of record of all the behaviors and actions that are taken that is immutable, so unchangeable. And then everything else on top of that is what is the type of applications and use cases and capabilities that we can build upon when we realize the foundation of digital ownership, distributed ownership, decentralized technology, and immutable ledgers.
So I'll tell you my definition. And I was listening to Kevin Chu when he spoke about this idea. He said, look, it's very, very simple. It's two things. It's blockchain and business model. And when I thought of blockchain and business model, I really came up with this idea, not dissimilar to you, of shared ownership, shared rewards. But then what I did was I added in one more, which is this: shared values. Shared values, shared ownership, shared reward. Now, to a big brand and to the uninitiated, when they start to point fingers and laugh, I get laughed at a lot. I basically said, hang on a second, is purpose important to you? Is diversity, equity, inclusion, and access and a fairer world important to you? And how about loyalty? Is that important to you? And when you actually put all of that and build that on a bedrock or foundation of community, suddenly it's a different conversation. And it's not just about the tactic and right-clicking JPEGs. It's actually about what I would call mission critical priorities for companies, for the world, and you shift the conversation. So I love your definition. I mean, we're clearly on the same page. What I've tried to do is just add to it a little bit and maybe tell it to people in terms they would understand.
Yeah, so sorry, give me a, what do you mean? So in terms of what part?
So just, well, I'll give you the
Yeah,
exact part, which is there's a big push right now to dumb down Web3, right? The
yeah,
dumbing
yeah,
down of Web3.
yeah. I think that's a great point. I think, listen, I think that people, I think there is, listen, we are 5-10 years ago when people were still getting used to, like, mobile, let's call it, or smartphones or iPhones. You had to kind of simplify things at a greater level. I think that we like kind of take for granted people's digital, like, experience now, and how knowledgeable they are about, and with the right incentives and the right user experience, how much that they can be able, that how much people can accomplish. The reality is, like, I think that we don't need to dumb things down per se. We just need to build products and build experiences that are designed with the users in mind and solve real world problems. Like, nobody had to when someone came out with Facebook, they didn't explain the psychology of what Facebook would become and how the technology would work. And it started as a college website for guys and girls to connect. You know what I mean? Like, that was the core of it. But, like, you didn't need to, when you explain Facebook is a lot of things to a lot of people, and God knows how it could probably be explained 1,000 different ways over time. But, like, and it's like, we just need a good killer use case to be able to kind of prove to people. Like, to me, the one, like, here's the perfect example. The use case that, in my opinion, has made the biggest impact on Web3 to date is NBA Top Shot. NBA Top Shot was, to me, the biggest on ramp of Web 2 to Web 3 users. And why is that? Because the concept of collecting basketball cards on digital basketball cards is easy to understand. The blockchain creates visible and transparent scarcity. It makes it easy for you to buy and sell. You get to, the cards can be animated. They don't crease. They don't bend. And you can sell them easily on an open market. It made sense. And that's why the biggest driver of Web3 adoption to date was NBA Top Shot. So when you think about a killer use case like that, basketball cards on the internet, okay, that makes sense. I want to be able to collect basketball cards. There are going to be many other use cases that seem simple. You don't need to dumb it down. Dumbing it down means, like, saying it in baby words. It's about design. It's about product. It's about problem solving. That's the shit that dumbs things down, without oversimplifying.
No, I completely agree. And so I feel, and I'm a bit of a purist myself, is that I start to get agitated when people call NFTs digital collectibles and POAPs digital ticket stubs. And just because I feel like, why are we, I mean, it's your point exactly. Or we could just build amazing products like the iPhone, right? That work well, that look amazing, that work amazing, and solve problems that people might not even have known existed. And that's kind of what you're saying, right?
Yep, totally. I mean, that's the name of the game, is that we have to seek out problem solving.
So I love the idea of solving problems. One of the things that that I've enjoyed is there's a guy by the name of Terence Kawaja, and he's on a mission against Web3. And so I still need to do a whole series. But he kind of came up with whenever anybody says anything Web3 to him, he just pushes this out back to them. And so I'm trying to, one by one. In fact, I did a whole piece on kind of a pushback on crypto. But to be honest with you, Drew, I want the naysayers, I want the people that are skeptics to come in. I want those conversations. I'd rather have a conversation with someone who doesn't believe than someone who's kind of sabotaging us from the sidelines. What do you tell people that are coming back to you with this idea, like that the death of, that this is overblown?
I think that I tell them we've been here before. We'll be here again. I go back to saying the same stuff I said in the very beginning, that they're core concepts here. We're not going to a less digital world. We're not getting to a less distributed world. We're not moving into a less global world. So unless we start to become less global, less digital, less distributed, then this technology plays a role in the future. And I think that, like, with that said, we're in the, like everything I was saying in the beginning, we're in the fight phase, but now it's about building, it's about solving real problems, about designing great user experiences, about innovating with tokenomics. It's about, demonstrating why decentralization is really important. It's about introducing the A in DAOs. Like we've talked about decentralized autonomous organizations, but no one's done anything autonomously. So like, it's really just decentralized organizations. We have a lot to do still to prove out the ideas that are being formed. And right now they're just still ideas.
Autonomous by definition means running themselves, independently running, the community running, as opposed to the inmates running the asylum?
I mean, I look at autonomous as like having having computers that can make decisions, or having a machine automation involved in processes. So like setting a smart contract, allowing the contract to do its part, and then enabling that, and then like continuing to move the ball forward. I think, like, listen, with AI coming into play now more and more, I think we're going to actually see true autonomous organizations, where decisions are pushed to machines, and machines have been given some type of kind of ultimatum or ability to make decisions in certain areas, and they make decisions accordingly. Like, I just think, and even that, it's like, how do machines pay each other based on requirements and criteria and the contracts that we've set. Like, it's not that it's not being done without humans. Humans are still designing the contracts and everything else that goes on. But the reality is that we need more automation. We need more technology. We need involved in these organizations, and we need to get beyond just everyone thinking that all that a DAO is a bunch of people voting.
Yeah, listen, you let's put it a bit louder. Give the man another air horn. Honestly, I'm learning all the time, but I push back on DAOs myself, and I think I didn't understand them until just now because of the problems with voting. When last I checked, voting's a bit of an issue, even in this country, maybe especially in this country. But there's something really cool about this. Not cool, but like different about this idea of letting the thing run itself if you've actually created something that is able to run itself, run smoothly, consistently, and error-free. I mean, isn't that the immutableness of it, right? Which is something that you can set and forget. So I really like that a lot. Now, I want to.
Bitcoin's been pretty autonomous for a very, very long time now. If you think about it, it's the one thing that, I'm not a Bitcoin maxi by any means, but if you ask what's demonstrated proof of true decentralization, it's Bitcoin.
This is true. Since Satoshi, aka Steve Jobs, left us, I'm convinced. One thing that we as parents witness is the joy of watching our 6-year-olds playing soccer from the sidelines. And I've always felt that leadership, whether it's in the government or whether it's in big brands, are like 6-year-olds playing soccer. They all bunch around the ball. They have no coordination. And then one of them by accident makes contact with the ball flies out of the swarm, and then they all descend on where the ball is heading. And I kind of felt like that's where everyone is right now with AI and generative AI. But I think what you've done is you've created the bridge. What does it look like? Is it mutually exclusive? Is it a Venn diagram? How much overlap is there between AI and Web3?
How much overlap is between AI and Web3? I think we're just scratching the surface. I think AI is still brand new. I think that we're going to see AI become a user interface to anything, to navigating if I wanted to find information on chain, in the past, I'd have to go to a search engine or a platform. I might just be able to ask AI in the future. It really depends, honestly. It's going to be all about use cases. That's the whole point of it. It's like AI is going to create efficiencies everywhere. In the future, I think AI will be as prevalent as the internet. So like to me, what I've seen from AI so far in ChatGPT and OpenAI is the most powerful technology I've seen since, I don't know, maybe internet, computers, smartphone. I mean, it's that transformative. It's that powerful. It's that monumental. So, I think what we're all trying to figure out is like, what do we do with this all now? Well, you have this new magical power. Now, what are we going to do with it? I think that big companies, if I'm a large organization and I'm not figuring out AI and how it's going to create more efficiency in my organization, you're going to get probably beat soon. For startups, I think you're trying to figure out what is your moat, how do you differentiate, how do you build some barrier to entry, because a lot of this is open source. So like, how do you figure out something to me, the big companies that introduce AI first are going to be the winners. Like the people like, and we've seen it already, like Adobe and GitHub and Microsoft Word and Google. Like anyone who's incorporating it, the big companies that have adoption already, that are incorporating AI into their platforms, I think are the most set up for success. I'm trying to figure out my own thesis from an investment perspective in terms of like early stage companies. How are they going to have leverage and be able and a competitive advantage to do more with AI? So, it's something we think about on the syndicate side for Redbeard Ventures is the ability is where are the investment opportunities in AI?
Well, let's talk a little bit about investing in Web3, in a build or bear market. Tell us a little bit about Redbeard Ventures. What's got your attention right now, and where you see the puck moving?
Yeah. So Redbeard Ventures, we started as an AngelList syndicate. I don't know if you guys are familiar with AngelList, but it's fantastic. We now have about 3,700 people that are part of our AngelList syndicate. It's free to join. To me, it's one of the most underrated resources of information, understanding trends, understanding the startup ecosystem. So the AngelList syndicate is free to join, and then you get to start to see investment opportunities through AngelList. So not only get you to learn about startups and see information, but you get to choose which ones you want to invest in on a one at a time basis. So syndicate is a great avenue. We've been one of the most active AngelList syndicates. We've done probably about 200 deals, deployed about 50 million in capital, investing in. We're mostly frontier technology, so like real innovative technology companies. I'd say now we're about 40% blockchain on the syndicate side, 60% like robotics, space. We've done about a few different space deals. We've done a little bit of biotech, a little bit of climate tech. So anything that I think is really like pushing society forward and really like a big innovation, that's where we try to drive the syndicate investments to. Also just really great cutting edge brands. We just we're pretty agnostic. The syndicate is a wide open playground for us to be able to support and invest in great companies that we come across. That we've been doing for now about 2.5 years. And then we started a managed capital fund, which is Redbeard Ventures Fund 1. That started about maybe 15 months ago, or give or take. And that is our first actual managed capital fund. It's a $26 million fund where we're focusing on purely blockchain, early stage, pre-seed and seed blockchain driven businesses. We're agnostic in terms of category, which as long as it's just leveraging the blockchain. We invest in tokens, we invest in equity, etc. Most recently, we just launched an accelerator program called Denari. Denari Labs is a tokenomics accelerator program. And Denari, it's a joint venture between Redbeard Ventures and Horizon Labs Ventures. Horizon Labs is the token advisory firm that designed Bored Apes token and ApeCoin, and have also they worked on Knights of Degen's token. They worked on Sandbox's token. So they're one of the top tier consulting and advisory firms in token businesses and tokenomics. So we're getting together to really identify 5 companies now that are at the cutting edge of thinking about how tokens, everything we've been talking about today. How are we going to innovate and leverage the blockchain to introduce new types of tokenomics and new types of network effects, and new types of user experiences and different levels of decentralization, et cetera. And we're going to support those companies through a 3-month program, give them capital investment, give them all the resources of Redbeard and Horizon, and help those companies through their token creation process. So those are the
No,
three. If I'd say there's the three investment, there's three different entities, I guess, or businesses within the Redbeard ecosystem right now. It's the syndicate, which is like anyone could join. Feel free to check it out. I recommend it totally. Then there's the fund, and then there's Denari.
So I'm sensing that you might be a little bit busy at the moment. Is that am I reading the room correctly?
To say the least. Always busy.
I mean, I'm hoping that this is like a bit of therapy for you, that you can actually like just
Yeah.
sit back, relax a little bit,
I block an hour for that every week as well.
and
That's a very important
shoot the shit, as it were. You
Yeah.
know, as I'm looking at all of this, first of all,
That also wasn't covering Knights of Degen, which is my operating side of my business. So half my life is investment and half my life is operating. And Knights of Degen, just quickly to touch on that, we started it about 18 months ago, maybe a little bit more now, maybe 20 months ago. It's the #1 sports NFT PFP project. That's where it got started. I always tell everyone the first 12 months, we really focused on NFTs, IP, building a really strong community built around sports interest, fantasy sports betting, all that kind of stuff. Over the last 6 months, we've really doubled down on technology, and we're building a gaming platform, a decentralized gaming platform that is a kind of like an RPG fantasy sports and prop picking games. So kind of taking the world building, the lore, the story, the IP, and weaving it into some of the traditional gaming sports games that we love, like prop picking and fantasy sports. So I'm really excited about what we're doing there. We have a lot coming out this summer. If you haven't checked out Knights, definitely take a look at the NFTs. They're on OpenSea. We have like less than 1% of them listed for sale. We have a very tight-knit audience, tight-knit community. I think they're the most undervalued NFT project in the game, because I think we have a team that really executes and builds really powerful things. So if you're an NFT collector or a sports fan or whatever, I think it's a great project to get involved in.
one of the things that I really am excited about is, as we build out Alpha Collective, inviting our speakers in as members, being able to have these conversations. But the thing that just hits me over the head like a 2x4 is that I look at this stuff and I go, I'm thinking about the normie executive. I'm thinking about the even a normie investor, and I'm thinking they're going like, I don't understand any of this. It seems too complicated. It seems too hard. It makes me go back to my first book was called Life After the 30-Second Spot. And the benchmark then was that digital was too hard and too complicated and too many sizes. And all these marketers wanted was just the ability to buy one 30-second spot that they could run on prime time on NBC, ABC, and what was the other one? CBS, and reach 65 to 80% of all households. And the reality is it just doesn't work that way anymore. What do you say to people that look at this and go, it sounds too complicated?
I think that if it sounds too complicated, then we have to. I think there's two ways to think about it. One, the first way to understand this space is not to learn about it in a book or hear about it on a talk. It's to get your hands dirty. Buy your first NFT. Go to a Discord. Do something in DeFi. Learn, get your hands dirty, apply, get involved in a DAO, like work with other people that are in the space, talk to people in the space. To me, that's what it's about. It's about getting your hands dirty. That's how you learn this space. That's how you simplify this space. And then the second thing is on both investors and builders to go out and create great products and better user experiences to simplify everything for everyone. We're still in the early days. I know it sounds cliche, but like the reality is we're very early in this market. We have a lot of infrastructure that's still needed. I don't think we'll have to deal with things like which chain are you using and how to move from chain to chain. And this is stuff like do you know what database we're talking on right now? If they use AWS? No. So why do we need to know if they're using Ethereum or Solana? The reality is we don't. And this stuff will be designed more effectively over time. It's just that right now we have a lot of problems to solve in the space, whether it's building smart contracts, building chain technology, figuring out scalability, figuring out the use cases, figuring out tokenomics, dealing with compliance and legal, all of that before we even get to the actual user experience of the consumer problem we're solving. So the reality is we're just early. If we look back 20 years ago, legitimately 20 years ago, let's think maybe 30 years ago now. I'm thinking about 90, like let's like in the early 90s. 30 years ago, what did the internet look like? It wasn't some beautiful product experience. And I bet if we actually had to go use it, we'd be like, this shit is complicated. Oh, what a nightmare to mess with this stuff. But that's where we're at. We're within 10 years of the computer. Like the first 10 years of the internet probably weren't the best of UI and UXs and the most scalable solutions. Now think about it this way. There were only thousands of people that had to use that technology now. Today, because we're all networked and connected, if something takes off, all of a sudden you have to deal with millions of users in seconds. So you got to build a plane while it's in the air. You have to build, then you also need to build the runway while you're in the plane in the air. It's just, there's a lot of shit going on, and we got to figure out how to solve these problems.
That might be the new tagline for Alpha Collective. There's a lot of shit going on. So roll up your sleeves, get your hands dirty, learn by doing, make mistakes, and figure it out, because this is our Web3. I mean, it can be our Web3, and I'm all for experimentation. In fact, if you look up on the top right, that is the POAP today. By the way, thank you for not saying anything about. First of all, I decided that you would be the wizard, and so you took it in good stead, and I appreciate it.
Who was it? Who's the character? I don't even know who it is.
It's you. Well, it's you according to Midjourney. So what I've done, so essentially what I did is I took all my speakers and then I gave them each a character, and I called you the wizard, the wise wizard. And so this is the POAP. Everyone that is watching live or on demand within 24 hours will get this POAP. If you collect all of them, who knows? You might find you something may happen. I don't know, but let's experiment. Drew, I'm not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. You wrote this this tweet, which I will read in a moment. But in homage to this tweet, I would be remiss if I didn't play this clip first.
I'll tell you what it is. It's me taking no for an answer. It's them selling me, not the other way around. It's me being a hypocrite is what it is. So, you know what? I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving!
Come on!
I love it. I love it. That's exactly what I was thinking as well.
And exactly. So just because we don't know who's going to be watching this, I'd go, let's go. I've got my own self-censoring. So you wrote this. You said a lot of people are scared and leaving. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to keep building, investing, consuming, teaching, learning, and surviving. We move forward, plow the way so others can follow. Distributed ownership, decentralized digital money, DAOs. We haven't scratched the surface. Sounds like fighting words to me.
I think that's what we're in right now. We're in a fight. And I think the advice that I give most people is survive right now. Is figure out how to survive. Build to where the puck is going, survive where the puck is today, and try to make it out the other side, because there's a lot of opportunity on the other side, but it's going to be a tough road to get there.
I'm going to ask you one more question today, and then your break is over, and then it's back to work for both of us. By the way, if you want to follow Drew and see tweets like that, Drew Austin on the Twitter. What's your message to the big brands? First of all, I mean, my approach is to onboard the next, clearly not myself, but to play a part in onboarding the next billion wallets via the next billion brand dollars. What's your advice to the big brands? What's your advice to brands that, let's face it, we are the ones that come in and force out the scammers and the 3-card Monty and the players out there, but we need them in the space. But ultimately, if we want to build this, we need the investment. What's your advice to them?
To come in from an authentic place, to build, to partner, to align, to support the innovators, to support the creators. Don't come in and try to sell. Don't come in and try to take advantage. Come in and contribute to the economy, contribute to the ecosystem. I think there are a lot of great projects and great companies doing amazing things in the space, and there's brilliant minds here, and big brands need to play their role in supporting and pushing this industry forward. The reality is that, like, what's going to happen is once some of these businesses come in and they break, like, my whole thesis right now is that the next wave of adoption for Web3 is going to come from gaming. I believe that gaming, big IP games, like if Pokemon comes to blockchain and the world realizes that they could, or Grand Theft Auto, when you steal a car in the game, you actually can buy it and sell it in real life. Like when the world realizes that you can move, that there's a shift from unproductive gaming to productive gaming, and you can still have fun while playing, while earning, not that you play to earn, but you earn when you play. Like that is a very big difference. And I think that those games are going to bring millions and millions of people into the space, far greater than DeFi or NFTs has done so far. We don't have any yet. So the next wave is going to come from gaming. And when those games start to come, the brands will start to come because they'll figure out another way now to incorporate themselves into the narrative, into the story. So like to me, that's the next light. That's the next stop on the highway is gaming. So I'm waiting to see some of the, and I don't think it's going to come from new games. I think the first stop is going to be from the big games that come here. The first ones that do it are going to really win. Everyone else will soon follow, but they'll be behind the 8 ball. So my advice is get ahead of the curve, be courageous, be fearless, and then be committed. If you come here, you can't be a tourist. You're going to get your ass kicked a little bit like the rest of us. You're going to have mistakes. You're going to fail. You're going to have people that critique you. You're going to be customers that don't want to use you. But if you believe in what we're doing here, then get involved. If you don't, then you're coming and you're going to waste your money and your time, and you're going to get your ass kicked.
I love it. Productive gaming. And, you know, going back to our kids, whether we like it or not, the iPhone and connectivity, it's all here to stay. But the other thing as well, and people, this is a message again back to the normies, which is, and by the way, it's a term of endearment, just like DJs are, which is a couple of generations ago, if a teenager wanted to spend time with their friends or with their boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever the case may be, they would take the long coil and they would lead it all the way under the door, and they would shut the door, and they would spend hours on the phone talking to that person. And now it's happening on Discord, and it has been, and gaming has led the way. And so it's a fool's errand to look at gaming as unproductive. If people are connecting, if people are countering this epidemic of loneliness, and in your case, it's a different kind of productivity. I love the flip. Instead of engage to earn, it's earn to engage. Earn to engage. That's a great build. Productive gaming. It's the name of your next book if you ever have time to write. How about that?
Yep.
So I love it. Thank you for spending some time with us. For those of you that want to register for the next one, Bruce Turkel, who is a normie. He's a good friend and a bit of a normie too. And so, you know, I think he clearly did not understand the brief. Hopefully he's not watching today. But his title is How Long Have You Been Married? And I have a feeling that it has something to do with this idea of humanity trumping technology, which in your own way, Drew, you would agree with as well. This is I actually put the link a little bit below if you want to register for that. Otherwise, just come into our Discord, discord.gg/Alpha Collective. Anderson Bell says, thanks, Drew. David Garber says, thank you. And a little shout out as well from Lauren Edelman, who said, hey, Drew. And hey, Lauren, as well. And we'll be back next week, same time, 3 p.m. With Bruce Turkel. And that's it from us. We're not doing a town hall in the Discord today, but we're going to keep on experimenting in terms of what is the best use of our time, and also how can we deliver the most utility to you. So again, Drew, thanks so much for coming in. And, you know, we will get you and let you get back to your wizardry activities. And to everyone else, don't leave. Stick around. We're going to be here for a while.
Thank you very much, buddy.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.